Hey everyone, welcome back to another Board Game Go preview. I'm Devin, and today we are looking at Vedur, part of the Nordic Heritage Trilogy from Gamia Games. This is Vedur. It is a 2 to 4 player game. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes per player. And let me explain what's going on. There is a basic game and an advanced game, and I can now show you what's happening here. So, up here, I've got this particular player set up for a basic game, and this player set up for an advanced game. In the basic game, you have a core 3 actions that you are going to be moving between. If you have played anything like Scythe or other action selection games in which you have to cover or mark the one you are doing, it is in this game also to where once you have done it, you have to do something else on your next turn. These different actions here are relatively simple, but let me explain what you are doing across the game, and then we can go to how the individual actions take place. So in a game of Vedur, the point of it is to have as many points as possible by the end of it. And if you have the most amount of points, you win. Imagine that. It seems pretty simple in that respect. However, the question is, how do you get points? There's a few ways to do that. Number one, you can look at this central board right here. This central board is going to be where all players are trying to complete or finish these tiles that have different weather conditions on them. You see sun, or like a sunny day. You see wintry weather. You see regular clouds. You see rain. There's also wind and fire, and all of these have to be played from your hand. So on your turn, you are playing cards in your hand that may match a particular weather symbol, and then placing it down and marking that you've filled that up. And when all 4 spaces are filled up, whichever player finished it will get whatever the bonus is, whether it's just straight points or whether it's extra points based off of your starting cards or based off of cards that were taken from the market that share the matching symbol. Either way, you're going to be getting bonus points if you finish it. If you haven't finished it, you're just going to be getting the points of the cards that you have played. After that, the tile will be taken up, you'll put a new tile down, and then with the new tile, you'll have new prerequisites for how that tile is finished. The cards that were played will go back to the discard pile of your particular player, of whoever they belong to, and then after that you'll keep progressing and you'll track your points on here, and then that's the main way. The bulk of your points are going to come from finishing tiles like this. There are other ways that points can shift both positively and negatively. As you can see over here, there is a market. Now this market is in the advanced game. It's not in the basic game, but it does actually have a increasing cost for the selection of cards there. In the regular basic game that you're playing, you're actually just going to be top decking and taking a card draw from there. And so that will play out a little bit differently. But in the basic game, you've got your core actions, you've got the different tiles that you're trying to fill out, and you're scoring for points. So let's go over the basic actions and see what they look like. The basic actions here is this: you are going to be placing down 4 cards. And what that means is you're going to be placing 4 cards here, so you could potentially place them and finish one entire tile by yourself if you happen to have the right ones that match. So right here, I could play a wintry symbol, and a cloud, and I would be able to play 3 of the 4, but I don't have a sunny card in deck, so I can't do that. But maybe I could play this rain card over here to where I could prep myself for points on a couple different tiles. Now, practically speaking, you're going to want to be careful about how you play, because setting your opponent up to finish particular tiles is going to give them the option of having these bonus scores. So you do want to be mindful about how much you are placing and whether it actually makes sense to place something down now or wait until later. But that is this particular action. You're playing 4 cards down into the central area. And then your next card here is drawing 3 cards, and in the basic game, it's drawing 3 cards off the top of the deck here and adding them to your discard pile, which once you make it all the way through your deck, you will be able to shuffle out, and that is kind of how the deck grows over the course of the game. The final one is a mixture of the two. It is getting to play 2 cards down to the central board and fill up some requirements for tiles, and then it's also drawing 2 off the deck. That's what you need to know to understand the base game of Vedur. But once you grasp the core mechanics of the base game, that is just to prepare you and introduce you for the true puzzle that Vedur is trying to present, which is the advanced play. Now, there's 3 core differences that are going to be presented in how you're actually playing. So the base board here is going to be flipped over, and it's going to turn into this larger section where you have 3 actions that are actually a little bit different. Instead of playing 4, you're only able to play 3. And instead of drawing 3 off the top of the deck, you're actually going to be buying 3 from the market, up to 3. The market itself is now different. It is a place where the first one costs 0, and then 1, 1, and 2. So actually, as you get into the later cards of what you want to pick up, it's going to cost you points in order to invest in certain cards, but that is going to pay dividends later as you get some of these stronger cards in play. So these core actions are a little bit different. The only one that truly remains the same in at least the number of what you're able to do is the 2 and 2, because you're able to play 2 cards down and then buy 2 cards from the market. The other thing that is different is not only some of the values and also how things function, but within the deck itself, you introduce these purple cards. Now, there are 2 different kinds of these purple cards. There are ones that will go into your discard pile and then will come into play when you draw them and allow you to do one-time actions outside of the regular run of play. And these ones with the infinity symbol will actually be one of 2 permanent upgrades that you can get that either gives you an advantage of maybe increasing your hand limit or giving you scoring objectives at the end of the game. Both of those are valuable aspects for you to kind of set yourself in a particular style of play. But then the other ones are, this particular card allows you to play 2 extra cards down to the central board out of the normal order. So you could play up to 5 cards into the central board and potentially finish, 2 different tiles maybe with 1 singular play. So these can be quite powerful, but once again, they have to be grabbed whenever you are buying from the market, potentially at a cost to you in terms of points. So those are how the core actions change and also how the market and drafting changes. The other major introduction are these spirit actions. So on the other side of your player, where you see the type of character you have all of these spirit actions. The top 2 are going to be unique ones to that faction or to that player, and then the bottom 5 after that are ones that are generic ones. And so each of these has their own value. For example, the 5 basic ones allows you to use your faction token as an extra placement down in addition to the cards, which might help you lock your opponent out of some points on the board. You are also able to trash 1 to 3 cards from your hand and then draw 1 to 3 new ones from your draw pile. Another one allows you to look at all the cards in the discard pile, choose 2 of them, and place them into your hand. Another one allows you to discard cards and refill from your deck, which is always good. And then if you really don't like the market, you can always place this over here and trash it. Now, similar to the actions here and the way that you play in the base game, if you ever play 1, you cover it up and you need to move to something else afterwards. The advanced game really ramps it up. It creates a lot more decisions that you have to account for. In addition to whatever your basic action is, you also get your spirit action, and the combination of those 2 is really where things kind of scale up, because you can do them in any order. So sometimes you use a spirit action to prepare for the most efficient regular action, or sometimes you use the spirit action to augment or enhance what you're doing with your basic action rather than setting yourself up to actually be able to do it. You're already able to do it, and then the spirit action is just kind of an added boost that you need. And it also, because of the introduction of these purple cards, which are one-time plays, and also the, I can't even speak words right now. Also, because of the permanent upgrades that you can get to your character, the drawing from the market actually has a lot more choice, because previously you were just going to top deck the cards. You're going to, draw them from the deck and then put them in discard, and you'll get around to them later. But this gives you a lot more choice, and you're able to focus. You're like, do I want one-time abilities? Do I want really, really strong cards that can help me continue to maximize points? Because your starter cards don't offer a lot of points. They're giving you 0 or 1 point whenever you're playing the game. And I'm going to show this to you in the front cam because I didn't switch to the top cam whenever I was doing that, but they're going to only give you 0 or 1 points. So if you get something that gives you 4 points or 3 points, that automatically is going to really enhance the style of when you're finishing and how many points you can accrue with even just a single tile finishing. It can really jump up the accumulation of victory points in the game. And then I think it's just that combination of the spirit actions, the deck itself, and all of those other little nuances that come with the addition of the extra mechanics. You've got that base game that's really simple to get underway, to show people what's going on in Vedur, and then you have this advanced version that kicks things up a notch for sure. So between the permanent upgrades, the single-use cards, then the choice of the market, and the spirit actions in tandem with your basic actions, really gives you a lot to puzzle over, and it does also kind of increase the decision space for both player turns and also just the length of the game in general. That's pretty much everything you need to know to understand Vedur. At the end of the day, I can give you the same disclaimers we always try to, that these are prototypes for the most part, and so be mindful that the components themselves and everything are subject to change, and this is not its final form, which always kind of my Dragon Ball Z mind thinks about that. But yes, this is not its final form for Vedur, and this is part of the Nordic Heritage Trilogy. So if you like this, there's other games in it that are planned from Gamia Games. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll get the links below so you can check it out. See you guys next time for another Board Game Co. preview. I'm Devin. Bye.